The CN Tower, the one that in Toronto,
Yeah.
was the tallest freestanding structure in the world for how many years? A number question.
2.
32. So
I had the last digit right.
1975 till 2007, which seems recent. I mean, it's pretty tall, but
I didn't think it was that tall.
I didn't think it was that tall. I thought like Chicago had bigger towers than that.
Yeah. Well, like the thing is that this is kind of cheating because it's just like they built something just to be tall. Like no one occupies the top part of it.
Right.
It's just like a little, metal pole.
Yeah.
I love how we started off we're in Toronto. I'm making fun of their like most famous monument.
We kept calling it a needle. They don't call it a needle.
The CN Tower. We didn't. I just want to be clear. You were.
I was calling it
even people at the press area of Tiff, because we were at Tiff.
Toronto International Film Festival.
22.
Yep.
Someone's like, what is that? It's like the Space Needle. I'm like, it's a CN Tower. Yeah. Like, that's what it's called? And I'm like, it sure is.
Yep. So yeah, Jeff broke the news. We're in Tiff.
We're at
Tiff. Well, we're in Toronto at Tiff.
Yeah. Well, right now we're at my hostel.
Yeah.
So someone could walk in at any moment because this is not a private room.
It's really... I'm going to actually take a picture right now and put it in the video just to show the current situation. Yeah, it's a really funny... This is one of our jankiest setups for sure.
Yeah, this is jankier than when we recorded in a park.
Yep. That was actually
brought
pretty
a
good.
folding table.
We went out and bought the chairs.
We bought chairs.
Yeah.
I just remember you went into an actual furniture and like, what's the cheapest chair
Bob's
you have?
Furniture.
Yeah, and the guy was like, $200.
Yeah, he pointed it at like this big leather, like
recliner
chair.
or something.
Yeah, and we were like, that's probably not ideal.
That's probably not what we want for this park episode.
Yeah.
So then we went to Five Below and got a couple chairs that were $5.
Which was perfect. Yeah, we're in Toronto. And there's so many movies. We will be talking about more movies today than we've ever talked about. And we won't be talking about them in great length, but we will be covering them.
No one has seen them yet. That's the point of the film festival.
Yes, but we are going to cover them.
Yeah.
Because that's how we get press in the first place.
Yeah,
It was for this episode.
It was for this episode.
This has all been for this.
Now, you said we will be talking about more more films than we've ever talked about in any episode.
Yes.
And that, honestly, I think the current record's like 3.
Yeah.
So, more than 3.
We're talking about, 15 today or something
like
that? Yeah. So let's just... I figured we'd go... Here's what we'll do. The structure is we'll go in chronological order.
Yeah. Now, first off, I think we should just do some general Tiff impressions, like walking around.
Yes. It is chaos.
Yeah.
I will say, I've talked to you a little bit about it. I went 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was busy, for sure. But I think it's because this year's the first year they're, full capacity. Everybody's back. It is, people showed up to Tiff this year. It is insane.
Yeah, it was hard to get public tickets.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Talk about the public tickets situation.
Well, we had press redemption window thing. So we could get up to 20 public tickets in addition to access to all the press screenings.
Right.
I had, because I'm extremely not famous, I had the latest redemption window, I think.
Yes,
so I was scraping the bottom of the barrel. But what was working in my favor was that their whole system was very messed up and got was shut down. So I actually got premiere to Bros.
Yeah.
Which Karsten couldn't get, even though he had a redemption window ahead of mine because he's very famous.
Didn't make any sense.
Yeah, he didn't. He was yelling at me. He said, "I'm more famous than you. How could this happen?
I deserve to go to Bros, not you. Bros is my movie."
It's like, you're not even a bro.
I love Bros.
But so it kind of worked out. I mean, you got to go to the Fablemans, which you'll talk about a bit, and the Whale, which I did not.
Yes, which was crazy.
Yeah.
All of it was kind of... It's I spent a lot of time... You saw the chart I made. I spent so much time mapping out the schedule and making sure there was no room for error. And then so many things went wrong
errors
before we even got to Toronto.
Yeah.
And now that we're here, that Whale thing... I didn't think that was going to happen until hours before the screening.
Yeah, that was crazy. We'll get into it. You ready to start jumping into the films in chronological order?
Now a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. What's the time you got stuck focusing more on problems than solutions, Jeff?
I think for me, at least once a year, I have a month where that happens to me.
Yeah.
Especially, when I was at DePaul and I had like projects backed up that I was trying to work on, and then I had new stuff that was happening. I just kind of felt like I wasn't getting anything done.
Yeah.
I was just falling really far behind.
Yeah. Things get overwhelming sometimes. Like work, even Tiff. Like, it can be a stressful thing. And, a therapist can really help with working through those problems, making it feel less overwhelming.
Yeah. It feels like there's someone on your team.
Yeah. Which is why we're here to talk about BetterHelp, which makes it super easy to find a therapist and, start working through some things.
Yeah. And I know both of us have, at different points in our lives, utilized therapy to help with a lot of these issues.
We've talked about it before. This isn't our first read. We've used therapy before. I've done it many times in my life, and it's always, I'm never like not glad I did therapy. Yeah. Like it always, like sometimes you can't see the benefits right in front of you when you start, but then once you start doing it, you're like, oh, I feel a lot less weight on my shoulders or in my mind.
Yeah, I think, with things like being at Tiff, sometimes we are regretful that we went to some movies, but that does not happen with therapy.
No regrets with that one. No
regrets with that one.
Yeah. If you're thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option.
Yeah. What I love about the concept of BetterHelp is that it's such an easy way to make therapy less intimidating if you're someone who's not currently, seeking therapy or are struggling with the concept of going to a physical place.
Yep.
It's just, such an easy entry point.
Yeah. And you can get matched with a therapist that really works for you. They have a brief survey. You can fill that out.
Yeah.
And
you can also, it's very easy to switch therapists if, someone that you get matched with, you're not really feeling it or feeling like that's the best option for you.
Yep.
You can just get, a different one and give someone else a try.
It's very easy. Yeah. So, when you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/kcast today to get 10% off your first month.
That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/KCast.
KCast.
I start first because I got in the 7th, and you got in the 8th.
Watching a movie while I was still on the plane.
Yeah, so my first film was on the 8th. At 10 a.m., I saw Moonage Daydream.
Yep, new David Bowie.
It's great. It is a lot. It was an insane film to start the festival with because it is just nonstop, images, editing, music, very psychedelic imagery. But it's great to see in a theater.
Man,
I would highly recommend seeing that in a theater. It's going to be out on HBO at some point.
Hell yeah!
If you're a fan of Bowie, it's amazing. If you're not a fan of Bowie, it's still pretty
spectacle,
good. It's a spectacle. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It really, more than probably any other musical documentary I've ever seen, is an experience.
Yeah.
More than a telling of a story. It's just a feeling.
Yeah. You said it put you in the mind of Bowie.
It really does.
Which is a crazy.
Truly.
Yeah.
And then you arrived.
And then I got there, and we saw Broker.
We did.
The new Koreeda movie, starring Song Kang-ho, and I think his first role since Parasite, which is
crazy.
It's really exciting. It's also Koreeda's first Korean movie. I think he usually does Japanese films, so this was his first Korean. Actually, and his last one was his first English language, so he's just
branching out.
What
do you think he's going to do next? German?
And I personally loved this movie. I mean, we've talked about Shoplifters on it, and we kind of said, this is very similar to everything else he's done. In that it's a dysfunctional family that's committing crimes. And it's the same kind of thing, but I thought this was, the most layered and, comprehensive take on these themes. Just because there's, everyone in the car. It's a road trip movie about these two guys who run this, illegal, they sell babies for adoption on the black market, basically. And when this woman who abandoned her baby shows back up, they work together and go on this road trip to find the right parents for the baby.
Yeah.
And all while there's two detectives on their trail.
Yeah. I agree. It's great. pretty much, if you like Shoplifters, it's more of the same.
Yep.
Yeah. And if you didn't like Shoplifters, you probably won't like this. But
Yeah.
not that many people did not like Shoplifters.
Right. It's not gonna win over anybody who doesn't like Horyeda, because I know a lot of people say he's like too slow and like a little too, like, it doesn't feel like things like what's the word, escalate or like ramp up in his movies. But to me, I thought this was like really exciting. And I don't know, the way like every character in the car had like a different definition of like what family is and why they are where they are right now. And just the way the film like kind of turns them into a family and redefines what it means to be a family, I thought it was just beautiful.
Also, the boy actor is so good.
He was so the boy was so funny. It's really, that's the thing, it's really funny too. It has such a great sense of humor. Song Kang-ho, his character, plays like such a similar character to the one in Parasite, where it's just this guy who's like kind of pretending to be like a normal dad and but is like committing crimes and like changing the eyebrows and like it's just funny. It's like I don't know. It's really lighthearted. You should check it out. Yeah.
Well, it's mostly lighthearted.
I mean, a lot of it's very depressing.
Yeah.
But that was that. And then later literally like 15 minutes later, we saw One Fine Morning,
which I really liked.
I wanted, talk about it.
Yeah, it's French. I've seen Bergman Island.
You have,
there's a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
Dealing with marital or relationship, straying. I'm blanking on how to say this.
Right.
What is it called when people cheat, but like a more fancy word?
Oh, open relation, like monogamy?
No, it doesn't matter. Anyways, it's people cheating. That's
Affair?
Affair. Yeah, affair, that's the word. But now everyone's thinking, why are we listening to a podcast where two people can't remember the word affair? This is my fourth cup of coffee.
Yeah, they have an affair.
Happens in Bergman Island as well. But just tremendous acting, I thought.
Yeah. Léa Seydoux, is that how you pronounce her name?
Léa Seydoux. That one, normally I try to help you with pronunciations. I don't know either. Yeah. We're not French.
Yeah.
Léa Seydoux.
She's like the most French person.
Yes. And I know they are incredibly famous in France.
Yeah.
It's like the Brad Pitt of France.
Yeah. I mean, she's pretty famous in the U.S. too, so I can't imagine France has got to be insane.
Yeah. Although Brad Pitt's famous in France too.
He is.
Maybe Brad Pitt's the Brad Pitt of France.
Brad Pitt. It's always funny when I went to Cannes and the celebrities would show up and they're like, Timothée Chalamet, Georges Clooney, and I'm like, this is silly. Anyway, this movie.
Yeah.
I really it was my first Mia Hansen Louvre.
I don't know. It's like a Norwegian last name or something.
Yeah, but I learned she is French, which that makes more sense. And I don't know, I really liked it for a lot of the same. It's just one of those movies where like it's kind of like the story is the character.
Yeah.
And you're like, the choices the characters make feel very real and like natural, and you kind of just get attached to them that way. Like I think it really rides on how much you like Léa Seydoux's character.
Yeah, and arguably for me, one of the top performances of any film I've seen in the festival.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah, it deserves more talk than it's getting. It's been like a really like low key movie here.
I think a lot of that has to do with the fact of the plot of the film.
Yeah,
it's a very low key film. There's not a lot where no one's gonna be like, you should see this. Like it's about this, and it's like what it's actually about is like someone dealing with relationships as they're getting older. And they're not married, and then their dad has brain problems.
It's like losing a dad and like not being secure in a relationship at the same time, and it's like how tumultuous it all. Yes, very French.
Yeah,
kind of like I would say if you like Worst Person in the World or like. I think that's the best comparison.
Absolutely.
Like you'll probably like this.
Yeah.
Anyway, next one. Next morning I saw The Inspection,
Which weirdly people were saying that was almost impossible to get tickets to.
It's one of the big movies of the fest, and it is fully because of the A24 stamp. Like, they just, which it's about a young gay black man who joins the Marines kind of because he's been rejected by his mother, and she's like really pushing this on him. It's kind of like I didn't really like get the motives to begin with. So he joins the Marines, which is just like obviously a horrible experience because he's gay and they're just very homophobic and racist, and it's just it's a very heavy movie. That kind of, you see where it's going for most of it, but it still kind of like got to me. Like I was still interested in what was happening, and like the character, his performance, Jeremy Pope, was phenomenal. I think this is like his first big movie, and he was amazing. So like I was like entertained and moved at a lot of points. It just ends on a point that is so weird because it's like I don't even know if I want to spoil it. I'm not going to spoil it because it's not out yet. But it ends on a point that it kind of leans into like, oh, maybe the military is the good guy all along, which is definitely not what the rest of the movie feels like it's saying. And it definitely is doing that on purpose to like kind of like leave things open-ended and like spark a discussion, which I'm like, oh, it's going to be very controversial.
And you are having a discussion right now.
I'm having it right. I was thinking like that the movie was more clever than people were giving it credit for, and that it's like saying how the military manipulates people into thinking that that's a home for them and that's where they belong.
Right.
I don't think the movie's that clever though. I think it's like it ends on just a very crowd-pleasy note that it rubbed me the wrong way. And as a whole, I just don't think it ended up being just the most memorable movie at the festival. It's got some really great moments, really great performance. And I would say it's worth seeing, but it's not the best thing in the world.
Then we went to Weird.
We did go
to
the
Al
Weird.
Yankovic story.
We did go to Weird.
And there was a lot of issues before the film. It was a press screening, and it was in possibly the smallest theater in the entire festival.
Yep.
And that was a pretty in-demand film.
It was one of the biggest films.
There was like problems where people didn't know where the line was.
Yep.
So people were lined up in the wrong place, and then the theater was full and they couldn't get in. And then we had seats. I lined up pretty early.
Yep.
I went to go to the bathroom, and when I was exiting the theater, there was people screaming at the Tiff volunteers about how they couldn't get in
to Weird.
Yeah, to Weird, which is very funny.
Yankovic story.
A little bit, yeah. But we saw it, so
we did, man. Did I feel a little guilty being one of the few who got to see it over like important critics? Yeah,
there's
but
no
I was
more
also like
important critic than you.
Right. I'm like, my opinion on Weird matters more than yours at the end of the day. So
and it stars Daniel Radcliffe.
Yes.
And it's really good.
Yes.
It's gonna be on the Roku channel.
It's a Roku original.
It's a Roku original, which I didn't know existed.
Yes. It is also produced by Funny or Die.
Yeah.
Which kind of, it reads like that.
It does.
You're like, this is an internet sketch.
Yeah, it's an absurd film.
Yeah.
It's like, what if someone gave an internet sketch a pretty big budget?
Right. And
it works.
It works. I will be honest, like the first maybe like 45 minutes of this film, I was like, this is one of the best comedies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It is like, it was hilarious and so well acted, like perfectly acted. Like he doesn't oversell it. It never feels like they're like trying to be funny. They're just like they just fully commit to these ridiculous scenarios. And then after that, it like the more it tries to be absurd and like the cartel gets involved, like it's just it kind of loses me a little bit.
It turned into the Nick Cage film a little bit.
That's what people have been comparing it to.
Yeah,
but I think this is way better in my opinion.
The first half of the film was the strongest.
Yes.
But it didn't, I think, lose all of the goodwill that it built up in the first half and the second half, and it was still enjoyable. And it's a pretty brisk watch.
Absolutely.
Definitely worth catching on the Roku channel.
It'll be great to like watch this with friends in your house. You know, like it's very funny. Some really great cameos. I mean, just a
lot of cameos.
The
which we're
cast,
not gonna spoil.
Yeah,
but many cameos.
The cast on the surface, you know, Daniel Radcliffe, Evan Rachel Wood as Madonna, Rainn Wilson. It's so it's stacked.
Yeah,
way more stacked than you'd think it would be. But yeah, I really liked Weird.
Yep, me too.
The next on the docket was you saw something before Bros.
I saw Brother. And I went to the world premiere of Brother, and then in the same theater, right afterwards, the world premiere of Bros.
Yep.
Which I think that Tiff scheduled because that's funny.
They definitely did it on purpose.
Yeah, Brother, and they're completely opposite types of films. One is this film where I would say Brother reminded me a lot of Moonlight, where it's this playing with time, and you know, kind of similar poverty. It's not as good as Moonlight. Yeah, so if you haven't seen either and you're like, should I watch Brother or Moonlight? Watch Moonlight.
Watch Moonlight.
Yeah, you should watch Moonlight. But Brother was good.
Yeah.
It's an interesting story, and the acting was pretty good.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, check it out. I would say it's worth a watch.
Yeah, definitely.
If you're into something that's fairly depressing. If you're like, I want to feel kind of sad about life.
So very different than Bros.
Yeah, which is
movie.
The opposite.
Which we also saw the world premiere of.
Yes.
With I'm just making sure no one's.
Yeah, it's on.
Someone fully is coming. Hi,
sorry.
You're good.
We're recording a podcast. You're good.
Oh,
we can.
Sorry, we'll move.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll check you out.
Oh my God, there's so many people.
Yeah.
Can you imagine just?
Sorry. No, you're good.
You're good.
Thanks. Well, I'll see how I edit that. So Bros.
So Bros, we saw the world premiere of Bros. It was
really funny.
It was really.
It was a really it was a great crowd.
Yeah.
It's like probably the ideal crowd seeing it with like a bunch of. First of all, I was seated in the last possible seat.
Yeah, because you didn't have a ticket. I got a ticket and you didn't, so you had to buy one.
I had to buy a ticket. It's the only ticket I bought the whole festival.
Yeah.
I will not say what the price was. It's not ridiculous, but it's more than I would have liked to spend.
Yeah, it's ridiculous in the context of how much people generally pay to go to movies.
Yeah, well, if you're going to AMC and you're getting snacks, I probably paid the same amount of.
Yeah, but you didn't
money.
get snacks.
I didn't get snacks. It was just a shitty seat. For
Bros. And also the seats are really uncomfortable because it's a theater. It's not a movie theater.
Yes,
so a regular theater.
But we saw it. And I would say I'm not upset at how much I paid for this ticket because it was just to see this movie specifically in this context, like the world premiere, with people howling like most of the film was like so fun. And it is, I don't even think, because I was thinking about this when I like reviewed it on Letterboxd. I'm like, is it that funny? And I think it is. Like, even without this kind of audience, it's a hilarious movie that like feels like such a throwback to like 90s rom-coms that's like genuinely funny.
Yeah, because Billy Eichner has a specific style of comedy that translates pretty well in this. You know, the quick like quips kind of style.
Yeah.
And it works. I mean, Billy Eichner, I think, not generally an actor. Is this probably the first like legitimate acting role?
It's
Billy
the first
Eichner? lead role. Yeah.
Yeah, he was Pumbaa or Simone.
Yeah, I don't think that counts. I'm not counting that.
But yeah, no, he was great. I thought he has like the range to carry that kind of role, which was amazing. The kind of Luke McFarlane, I want to say. I
think so.
Supporting actor. He was
he was very good.
I don't know. It was just really well acted. Very heartwarming. Like, I liked the romantic aspect of it. I loved the comedy. The only thing is that it's too damn long.
It's really long for a rom-com.
It's got, even though he's just a producer, it has that, like, Judd Apatow, like, overstays its welcome feeling where I'm like, especially because it's not like a movie where all these scenes are necessary. They could easily just be deleted scenes for people after.
Yeah, because there's so many of these conversations that are like fairly funny on their own, but they go back and forth for like minutes in these scenes, And I'm like, it's kind of funny, but when you have 8 of these kind of funny scenes, it
Yes.
just gets a little bit long.
Right, and some of the scenes are like amazing. I think the first time they're in the gay nightclub, and there's like the banter back and they like first meet. I thought that's just like one of my favorite scenes of the year. It's like so exciting and funny and like
and it was
really well shot. Like
it was great to see this because there's quite a big difference in crowds when you go as press, where there's press screenings and public screenings.
Yes,
and this of course was the like public world premiere.
Yep.
So the audience was very into it.
Yeah.
Where I think this would have been a lot less fun to go to the press screening of.
Yeah, definitely at like 9 a.m. as
Yeah.
opposed to like 9 p.m. I really liked it. If you don't like Billy Eichner, I don't think it'll win you over. It has kind of a like modern SNL sense of humor towards the back end that I didn't love, but for the most part, it's a very funny movie that made me happy, and I'll probably watch this again. It's a good airplane movie, I guess.
Yeah, it would be a great airplane
it's
movie.
very long and
the length of it would work.
Comfort watch and I actually really enjoyed that movie.
Yeah, I did too.
Next, after Bros, the next morning we saw Women Talking, which is one of the most hyped of the fest. It's said to, let me double check, my computer didn't just shut off.
It stopped recording. No, it didn't.
No, we're good.
We're good. I don't know. You might not be plugged in anymore.
You're right. No, I'm plugged in.
Oh.
Okay. Women Talking, the new one from Sarah Polley, who I haven't seen any of her other work. But it has like one of the most stacked casts. It's got Claire Foy, Jessie Buckley, Rooney Mara, Ben Whishaw. Frances McDormand has a very small role. I personally really love this movie.
Yeah.
It kind of like, it's very wordy. I mean, it's very much like kind of it's interesting. I'll compare this to another movie I saw, but it's like kind of a stage play in a way.
Yes.
Like
it absolutely could have just been a stage play, and we saw it in. No, we didn't see this one in the theater. I mean, like in the regular theater.
You're saying, we saw this.
We saw this in a movie theater, but it felt like you could have just watched it.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, like, I thought it like justified its existence as a film. Like, I thought it told its story visually in a really interesting way. The color grade,
I wanted to get
we're a
into
little
that.
mixed on that, but like
it's so contrasty and muted, and
it looks a little ugly.
Yeah, it's it's this period piece kind of feeling, and I personally wish that it was a little more vibrant.
Yeah,
because so much of it takes place in one location. But the actual content of the film is excellent. I
would say I think, and you would agree, the color like is definitely intentional and like adds
of course,
to the
very
cold.
intentional. It's just it's definitely a personal.
It's very like the whole movie is about this like in between stage of like, should we move forward and like do this for the future of like our children, and or should we stay back for like tradition's sake or for religious reasons or like just for our safety. And it's really thrilling in my opinion. Just it manages to keep it very interesting throughout,
and it's a story that I haven't seen before. And I think that's, at the end of the day, what you want to see in a film festival is stories that aren't something that you see all the time.
I took a glance at some of the press notes for it, and they kind of like say this for you, but I do think it's interesting that none of the actual violent acts that happen in the film are in the film. Like, they just kind of talk about it after the fact or before, and that's, I think, a really interesting and like powerful choice, because like you see, I don't know, you learn a lot more about the effect of what these had, or what these events had on these people, like by how they talk about it after. And I would watch it again. I actually want to watch it again because there's a lot. It's very dense.
Very dense.
I think there's a
lot of women talking in this film.
The title does not lie.
Yeah.
The women are talking in this movie. But yeah, I thought it was really great, and excited for everyone to check it out.
Yeah, I after that tried to go to I Like Movies, and it was also in a very small theater, and I did not get in.
Yep.
But I did see Finn Wolfhard.
Yes.
Chilling across the hall.
Who's
a friend of Carson's.
Apparently a watcher of my videos. Which we'll talk about.
We'll get into that. We'll get to it.
Then, while Jeff was doing that, I saw Susie Searches, which was fine.
It was fun alliterative title.
Yeah. It was...
Susie Searches Seashells by the seashore.
It was directed by Sophie Cargman. This is her
would have been great if
first feature.
Her last name also was an S.
Yeah,
Susie Searches by Sophie Smith.
Susan. I don't know. That's
why'd you go with the first name?
I don't know. I saw this mostly because I like Alex Wolff of Hereditary, Old Pig, and Naked Brothers Band. And he was great. Everyone did a great. Oh, Jim Gaffigan was in it. I thought this had a really bad sense of humor. Not in an edgy way. It was just not funny. It was kind of. I think a middle school crowd would really like it.
Like people who like the Naked Brothers Band?
Sure, yeah. It was I just didn't think it was that funny. I thought it was trying a little too hard with its filmmaking.
Right. A
lot of weird transitions that kind of felt like it was trying to be... Obviously, this was made before Everything Everywhere came out, but in that same vein of whoa, this is a weird cut. And I'm but what is... It doesn't really do anything, but... It did kind of win me over the longer it went on because it's this thriller that has a lot of really fun twists and turns that I don't want to reveal, and it's about a true crime podcaster, which I thought which is most of why I went to see it because I was like, that sounds fun, and it does.
Yeah.
If you like Spree,
be true crime podcasters. All we have to do is we're in this hostel. If I just punch a hole through a wall,
yep, be something happened at this hostel.
There was a crime I just committed.
True crime.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. It seems like the kind of thing Netflix will pick up.
Yeah, I don't like films that conflate humor and weirdness.
Yeah.
I think that's Everything Everywhere All at Once for me was a lot of that where they're this is just uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
And it's not. It's just weird.
Yeah.
It's not funny.
But if the movie's called Weird...
But if the movie's called
funny.
Weird, then it is funny. But it's actually not that weird.
Not that. It's very normal.
Yeah.
So that was that.
And then...
Well, we saw
Documentary Now.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can't log in on Letterboxd, so I almost forgot about it. But that was fun.
It was fun.
It was. I mean, I'm a big Documentary Now fan.
Yeah.
I'm sure you are too. And it was cool. The Fred Armisen and the directors were there, which was fun. There's not a lot to say about it.
Yeah, it was
just funny.
I do want to say especially the Agnes Varda one was
oh my god,
phenomenally well done.
So
it genuinely
well
just could have been an Agnes Varda documentary.
It's especially seeing it on the big screen, you notice all the just the pixelated subtitles.
Yes.
Just the standard definition of it all is so perfect.
Just from a production standpoint, so well done.
Yes.
The attention to detail on that one was unbelievable.
Yeah. No, it was hilarious. The octopus teacher parody was pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
Agnes Varda thing hit it out of the park though. That was hilarious. And then next morning we saw Glass Onion.
Yeah.
A Knives Out mystery. Which was we had that
good
much
Letterboxd reviews of
two very different
very different takes. We both gave it 4.5 stars and wrote loved it so much. Wow
in all caps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will say because everyone is is it better than the first one? I don't think it's as good of a movie, but I think it's a better whodunit mystery. I think it's way more satisfying. Balances a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine the headache it took to put this together.
Yeah.
And how it miraculously works. I feel if I read this movie on paper, I'd be I don't know, this is really convoluted, but he makes it work so great. It moves very smoothly and gets away with a lot more than it should, in my opinion, especially with like the humor. I loved it.
Yeah, it was
so
great.
much. Wow.
Yeah, so much wow. And I don't even think we need to say anything more about it, because if you're listening to this podcast, you're going to watch it.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah, exactly. The cast was amazing.
Yeah, and also, you had to leave right when it ended.
Yes.
To go see The Fabelmans, which is what we'll talk about in a second. But
Yeah.
I stayed for the Q&A, and Daniel Craig was unbelievably hungover, because we saw the second screen, not the premiere.
Yep.
So the
he
premiere was the
partied.
previous night. So clearly he had a lot to drink at the party that the previous night.
Yeah.
And he was unbelievably hungover. Like, I had a photo that I took that I didn't take on purpose because he looked hungover, but then I looked at it and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
He is hungover.
I saw some interviews the next day.
Look at him.
Yeah, he couldn't answer questions.
Ed Norton's like really attentive and looking at him. He's just blankly staring,
Zoning out.
holding the microphone like this. And yeah, genuinely, Daniel Craig, someone would ask him a question, he would start answering it, and then he would be like, oh.
Man.
And then someone else would start talking.
You know,
It was
he
pretty funny.
deserves it.
Yeah.
Because what I was saying is, I think Daniel Craig is even better in this movie than he was in the first, which is...
The accent's still funny.
It's still really funny, and he just plays it up a lot more. Like, it's clear he's having just so much fun.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I don't know. I had a blast watching this.
Yeah.
I would watch it again.
I would too. I would watch the first Knives Out and then this again. I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm just being very careful with what we're saying.
Yeah. That's what's so special about these two movies is, like, you would think a mystery, once you watch it once, you're like, I know what happens. There's not much to revisit, but they're both so fun. I saw the first Knives Out, like, 3 different times.
Yeah.
Like, I love watching that movie, and the same can be said about this one, so...
Yeah. When I was younger, I loved Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
And in order to watch them multiple times, I would somehow, like, train myself to forget who did it.
That'd be so...
Yeah, so I would...
I don't know who's going to come out of there.
I don't know who's in this mask, but...
That's so
unfortunately,
funny.
I haven't been able to do that with Knives Out.
Yeah. Well, like you said, I sprinted.
You sprinted. You and like 50 of your closest friends.
It was so funny because you can sort of like tell at the end of Knives Out that it's about to end. Like credits music starts playing, so I get up out of my seat. I'm standing in the back waiting for the title with like 10 other people who are just like standing there like ready at the door. As soon as it pops up, everyone just books it out. There's a guy in like a suit just like sprinting down the theater going like and it's like and then you get out of the theater and all these volunteers are like, it's that way, and everyone's like running.
Yeah.
It's like, it was like 20 people. It was chaos. And then I get there and there's like the lines around the block. So I'm like, okay, it's going to be fine. But it was also like, the movie starts in like 10 minutes. And I get into the theater. As I enter the theater, and as I'm looking for my seat, Steven Spielberg's like talking on stage. And I was like, what the fuck? And then I watched the movie.
Yeah.
And I think it might be... I might go back on this, but at the moment, it's my favorite of the festival. I loved this so much more than I thought I would.
Yeah, I am looking forward to it. I was not able to see it.
It was so... I think a lot of people aren't going to like it, to be honest. I think it's going to get made fun of because it's very cheesy and overly sentimental, and just like it leans into the whole like the magic of the movies thing, which I did not really... I didn't think that was that exciting going into it. I'm like, usually these movies about movies don't win me over.
What about Hugo?
I do like Hugo.
I do
like Hugo. People are comparing this to Hugo because it is... Yeah, because it's like... That was Martin Scorsese's thing about like movie magic, and this is Spielberg's.
Yeah.
And I think Steven Spielberg like is allowed to do whatever the hell he wants.
But
because it's...
Is Sacha Baron Cohen in it?
No, Sacha Baron Cohen's not in this one. Yeah. Paul Dano is, and he doesn't. He's not the standout. I'll say that. I get Gabriel LaBelle. He was the lead. He plays technically young Steven Spielberg. Yeah. He was so good. Michelle Williams is really good. Seth Rogen. It's just, and then David Lynch, which I won't talk about, but his scene was phenomenal. I really like this movie.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to see it.
Yeah.
In a theater.
I'm going to talk about it a lot more, so I'll leave it there. I did get very emotional just like seeing Steven Spielberg in person because I'm like, that's the man that like got me into movies. So it was just like the whole experience was very special.
You know what?
Yeah.
As a side note, you've been recognized quite a few times this festival.
Yeah.
Someone said that to you. That
I know.
You were the person that got them into movies.
I'll say that. I'll say that, like, thank you to everyone who said hi and taken a picture. Everyone's been so friendly and kind, and it's been very, very surreal the last few, especially one fan in particular.
Yeah.
Who I'm sure you guys all know of already. Yeah, that was the Fablemans.
Yeah.
And
while you saw that, I saw Causeway.
Yes, which is one of the bigger movies.
Yeah, it's a Apple A24.
Oh, it's A24?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, an Apple.
Interesting. Jennifer Lawrence.
Yep. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's just, you were saying earlier, about Broker, how people were saying that it doesn't really escalate. Mm-hmm. This film is the ultimate film in not escalating.
It's just kind of a flat line.
Very flat line.
Interesting.
About someone who was injured in the military and is trying to kind of make sense of their life and rehabilitation.
Okay.
And just like going back home to where they had like an unhappy childhood.
Okay.
And just trying to make sense of their life.
Yeah, weird.
And it's decent. Like the acting is good. Jennifer Lawrence is really good.
Yeah. Was Brian Tyree Henry in that?
Yes. Brian Tyree Henry is also very good.
Okay.
And it's I would say like if you are an Apple TV subscriber when that comes out, see it. But it's nothing groundbreaking. It's not gonna blow you away. It's just a well acted kind of small scale
fills the time.
Yeah. And I'm not mad I saw it, but I also wouldn't be rushing to say everyone's got to see this. Like, it's fine.
Wow. 2 military movies by A24. That's a weird trend. After that, I saw The Whale, which was unexpected. Shout out to Amanda the Jedi for getting me that ticket, and for Adam from YMS for turning down the ticket so that I could get this ticket.
Wow.
It was crazy turn of events. And while waiting for The Whale, I met Finn Wolfhard, who waved at me first. I want to say that.
Yeah.
I'm not to flex, but he said he likes my videos, and I nearly peed my pants. It was. Yeah. I was shaking.
Were they bird dogs?
I may have been wearing bird dogs.
They may have been peed as bird dogs.
Very, very well could have been wearing bird
good
dogs.
News is they have built-in underwear.
So everything would be fine. I watched The Whale. It was also the premiere with Brendan Fraser there.
Brendan Fraser.
Yeah. Darren Aronofsky said Fraser, and some people say Fraser, so I'm like, I'm just going to stick with the way I've been saying it for my whole life.
I am almost positive it's Fraser. I think I've seen a video where Brendan himself says
that's
Fraser.
No one really will...
if you know, just hit us up in the comments.
I saw The Whale.
You saw The Whale.
I didn't love The Whale. I didn't think it was the best thing ever, which is kind of like I don't know what my expectations... All I kind of knew going into it was Brendan Fraser would be amazing, which he is better than you think he's going to be. That's what I will say. He fucking... It's not only just an amazing comeback performance, it's just a great performance, like, point blank.
Yeah.
I
love to hear that.
It's so good. And it's really, like, dark. It's kind of hard to watch him. But... man, does he kill it. It's so good. And Sadie Sink is amazing, too. No one's really talking about the supporting cast, like Hong Chow, Ty Simpkins. Everyone is, like, really amazing in the film.
Yeah.
But obviously he's, like, the standout. I brought up the stage play thing about women talking earlier because I feel like that's a movie that really, like, works as a film despite being very talky. And this is a very stage play kind of movie. It all takes place in one apartment. And I didn't think it worked that well as a film. Like, it's something that, like, just seeing it visually, for all Darren Aronofsky talked about in the Q&A about, like, we worked really hard to, like, turn this into cinema. I'm like, I didn't feel the that
Yeah.
aspect of it that much. It felt kind of dull. I thought that everything that was said in the film kind of just was like left right there. Like there wasn't much beneath what was being said. They really lay out the backgrounds of the characters in like every scene. Basically the whole scene is just kind of getting to know this guy. So by the end of it, the ending hits really hard, and it's like definitely the best part about the film. But most of the movie, I don't know what else I felt other than like just kind of learning who he is, which I just would have liked a little bit more out of the film than just all of this explanation.
Yeah, I'm still excited to see it.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it'll resonate really hard with a lot of people. It's a great movie on like grief and how people like treat themselves poorly in that scenario.
Yeah, it's also fun that you got to see Finn Wolfhard, watching his Stranger Things co-star.
Yeah, well, well, that's the other thing. I left the theater and like walked down the street, was walking back, and I run into him again. And I wave at him. I'm like, there's no way we're going to do this again. And he breaks off from his friends and runs over to me. And he's like, dude, what'd you think? And I'm like, why the fuck do you care what I think? You're Finn Wolfhard. And then... Sorry.
So you go on.
Yeah. We talk about the movie. I won't say what he felt about the movie. He probably wants to keep that private.
Right.
But we had like a genuine conversation about it. And he's like, yeah, Sadie Sink was incredible. And I'm like, yeah, that's your fucking co-star. Like, you're gonna say... I'm like, what are you... It was just a very surreal experience, just talking to him on the streets. And yeah, that was the last movie I saw. You saw one more, though.
I saw... what did I see? I saw Muru.
You saw Muru?
It's a New Zealand film.
Yeah, how was that?
It was good. It was really good. It was, kind of about racism and it's kind of a response to these riots. Well, it's like this police kind of infiltration of this community.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna say too much about it. But
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It was really good though. Okay. I enjoyed it. I think it's you learn a lot watching it.
Yeah.
Because obviously most people who aren't from New Zealand have no idea that this kind of police malpractice happened.
Yeah.
So it's just an interesting kind of historical based film.
Okay.
And then after that, the final film I saw, and then I'm seeing 2 films today. This is my final day here. Was The Blackening, which is written by Dwayne Perkins, who was in Three-Peat, which is a Chicago improv group that I've seen a couple times, and I have some friends where like another couple people in that I've worked with.
Yeah.
Someone from that group was in my web series.
Yep. Were they in the movie?
They weren't in the movie. Okay. Only Dwayne Perkins was in the movie. Because it's based on a sketch that they did where all of them were in it for Comedy Central a few years ago.
Yep.
And it was turned into a film, and it's good. It's a really fun time.
Yeah.
It's a good horror comedy.
Okay.
I recommend it. It'd be great to watch with a group of friends.
Okay.
Definitely
Directed by Tim Story.
Directed by Tim Story of Tom and Jerry fame. I would say it's my favorite film of Tim Story's that I've seen.
Yes.
There were rumors that Tim Story was going to direct a Monopoly film starring Kevin Hart, where he grew up on Baltic Avenue and was trying to make it big, make it to the boardwalk.
Ridiculous.
Which I don't think ever made it into production.
Yeah.
But I'll see it if it does.
If I would be first in line for that one.
Yeah.
At TIFF when that drops at TIFF.
It drops at TIFF. But yeah, that's it for the rundown. I mean, next episode we'll talk about our final day.
Yeah, there's
seeing Empire. Wait, did you? Oh, you didn't go this morning to Empire of Light. I'm seeing that in a couple hours.
Yep. And
then I'm also seeing. What else am I seeing? Oh, either Until Branches Bend or the doc by. I'm blanking on the famous German guy.
Werner Herzog. Yeah.
I might see that.
Yeah.
I got a ticket for that.
Forgot he had one there. You should see that.
Yeah, I think I will.
Yeah, I'm seeing the new Joanna Hogg tonight, The Eternal Daughter, starring Tilda Swinton. And then I'm seeing Sanctuary, which premiered last night and got some really interesting reviews, starring Margaret Qualley and Christopher Abbott, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah.
And then tonight I have the premiere of Decision to Leave.
Oh, that should be great.
That I'm really excited for. And then tomorrow...
Theater of Thought. That's the Werner Herzog film.
Gotcha. Yep. And then tomorrow, hopefully going to see the Banshees of Inisherin. I don't think that's how you pronounce it. But
I'll be in the air.
You'll be in the air.
I'm flying out at 7:30 a.m.
God.
I have to wake up so early.
And then my final film, if I have time, would be Pearl, the X prequel, directed by Ty West. Ty West. I don't know how you pronounce it, but
yep.
That will do, and I'll cover all that in my Tiff video.
And your 5-hour-long What I Watched This Month video.
Yeah. I think that'll do. We are about there with our runtime.
Yeah, I've enjoyed this festival a lot. Hanging out with you.
Yeah.
Had a good time. Had some good meals.
We've met up with a lot of people we've had on the podcast.
Yeah. Like Intercuts, Zach,
Amanda.
Who we've not had on our podcast, so we've just been on their podcast a bunch.
We had him once.
Did we?
One time. And we had the Intercut, it was like favorite movies of the year thing, 2020. We did have him on.
We did?
Yes.
I thought we were just on theirs.
We were on it. Or he was on it. Someone else too, though. The
Oscar
experts. We had
Oscar experts. Yeah.
They were very nice. Anyway, we're just rambling now, but it's been a great festival.
It's been fun. Hopefully we could do it again, Karsten.
I do want to know. Wait, real quick, because it's the end, and I said we would. If you were to recommend, what's your favorite movie from the fest?
If I was going to recommend one to someone, absolutely Glass Onion, and that's the one where I'm like, everyone will like this film.
Yep.
If you're someone who is like our friend Miles, who was on the pod, Women Talking.
He's gonna love that movie.
Yeah. That's a great film. Weird, if you're someone who's like into comedies, Weird and The Blackening are both like really fun, crowd pleasing.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't recommend Causeway unless you are an Apple subscriber and just are bored.
Yeah.
Nothing groundbreaking there. I also did see a documentary that I don't want to trash. I walked out 30 minutes in because the premise of the documentary, what it was about, made me physically ill.
Yeah.
From an auditory basis, the
it's
audio
not even,
of the
gory.
No,
thing,
it wasn't gory at all. Just the audio of the film actually was making me feel sick.
Yeah. So don't.
And it also wasn't that good of a documentary, honestly. But I would have stayed if I wasn't feeling ill. From
Yeah.
Very interesting. It never happened to me before.
No, I'm curious, honestly, to check out that documentary.
Yeah.
I would say my hit of the fest is The Fabelmans. Trailer dropped yesterday, and it's not very good, so don't rely on the trailer for that one. But the movie itself is one of the best things I think Steven Spielberg has done.
Yeah.
And it is. I know I said this about Women Talking to you earlier, but this movie is absolutely going to win Best Picture, The Fabelmans.
Yeah.
It's so just
Oscar-y.
Locked. It's very Oscar-y, but kind of won me over, and it's definitely at least a front runner in my opinion. And that's the Tiff coverage.
Yeah. Let's since we're in the same room, let's high five.
High five. Sync up
that's
that
how
audio.
You sync up the audio. I'll catch you on the flip side.
Catch you on the flip side.
On the Toronto side.